Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. We got a hard one today. This study is not easy, and actually, it was a bit longer than this, but I had to cut it down because otherwise, I think the video would have been way too long. So, this is the crucial moment white to move and win this. Our pawn is one step away from promotion, and of course, black's mission here he wants to sacrifice the rook on this pawn and bring this pawn down with his king. If he can take this one with the king and sacrifice here, he will have a draw. But we're going to stop that. But it's not easy. There is one variation that allows us to win this from this position. So I think you now should pause the video and see if you can win this as white. Go ahead. And welcome back. Okay. So the obvious idea here is, of course, to play knight to e8 and make way for the pawn to promote the next move. But this is not good enough. Black will play his rook to h7. The pawn is pinned, and he will sacrifice the rook there next time and then go down and take this pawn, and we have a draw. So we're not going to go into all the details there. It's pretty clear that we cannot allow this to happen. Okay, starting with a check might seem interesting, of course, but then we're just helping the black king going down to the e2 pawn. He will snap this, and we are still not having any ideas on how we can really get this one to promotion. If we do something like this to get away from the action, well, black can do many things. He can just sit back, maybe move his own pawn, and it's really more threatening to take here. And if we try to do something like this, well, this is just not winning. He can start moving around this rook wherever, and this will be a draw. So let's go back to the starting position. It's not right to start with a knight move. So, okay, maybe we want to get away from this potential rook h7 to pin the pawn and try something like this. King to c6 or perhaps b6. And the idea is, of course, that we are threatening to put our knight here on e8. So something like this. Black ignores it. And this is winning. The pawn will now not be stopped. But if we start with king to c6 or b6, black will do this defense move. He will move the rook to a8, and really stopping the knight from coming here. And something like a check here now is just not good enough. Then black can do half of his mission, attack this pawn with the king, and we are not able to put the knight on c8 or anything to stop this. We have to go back to attack, and this is just not quick enough. Let's see if we ignore the knight and play our king now back to b7 to attack this rook. Well, then he will come back to h8, and everything is starting from the beginning. So we have the opportunity to do this, go back and forth, but still we will end up in the starting position, and now we have to find the let's do this, take away all the highlights on the pieces. This is the starting position. If we move the king, the rook will come to a8, and we have to just go back, and the rook goes back. So we're back to the starting position. All right, now for the winning move. We are not moving the king, we are not moving this knight, and we are obviously not moving this pawn. It will just be taken. So what's left? It's this little pawn on e2. It's not being attacked now, but we are putting it right up there. e4 is the fantastic starting move to win this little study. It's just very, very hard to find, but now it becomes a little bit more obvious after we've done it. If black takes this, well, then we can play knight to e8. and the rook to h7 threat is no longer a threat due to the fantastic little check here with a fork to the king and to the rook. The rook will be lost, and then of course the pawn will queen, and we win. So after the great move e4, what will black do now? Well, look at this. If we move his rook somewhere, maybe to d8, he wants to attack right away, well, then we have the check here. So he will again lose his rook, not possible. If he moves it to f8, just do some tempo, it will be the same here. Check and lost. And something like this, well, then we move the knight to e8, and we're also protecting the g8 square, so the rook cannot come and pin our pawn. So basically, the rook cannot move. If it moves away the rook somewhere else to here, well, then obviously we're just promoting again directly. So black is a bit tied up here. He cannot move the rook. He has to move the king, but he cannot take the pawn. If we now he's starting to instead of minding these pawns, he's attacking. Well, then it's a pretty easy win for us. We play knight e8, and still if he goes now and to pin this, well, it doesn't matter that much, because remember, black had two missions. One was to sacrifice his rook, but the other one was to take this pawn. And now he's not taking this pawn. We can simply play king c6, and he doesn't have time now to sacrifice here. We will simply go back and protect this, and then of course this is an easy win for us. So the king cannot go too far away from the pawn. He has to stay close so that he can take this pawn at the right time. So if he can't take it, there's actually only two defense moves: king e3 and king f3, and they are met with different answers from white. Starting with king e3. How do white win this? Only one move here wins this for white. Can you see it? Okay. Now we go with the king to c7. We are not really threatening that much, but we are threatening the knight to e8, and after the rook comes up, we can place it on d6 and protect our own pawn. Still, he cannot take here. It's the same situation. Then we play right away. We're threatening this check back here. So the rook needs to move to the other side. Again, we looked at this before. Rook a8 is a good defense move. Now he wants to check here, sacrifice, followed by taking this pawn. But we have a good middle move here, a tempo move. The king is in check after knight f5, and regardless if it takes this or not, we will come to d6 now with a check, and we will put it on c7. c8, something like this. He cannot stop this pawn. This knight protects the a7 square, so it's an easy win. And as I said, it doesn't really matter if it takes the pawn or not. We will put the knight on d6 anyway. And if it doesn't take the pawn, well, it's perfect here because it's protecting the e4 square. So we're actually threatening just right away to promote and win this. So that's not good enough. Okay, let's see what happens if he moves to f3 instead. In this position, it's not right to play king c7 because we don't have the tempo move of knight f5 anymore. Black will play this rook to a8 and really manage to get a draw here. He's threatening a rook a7 check, followed by taking this and then taking our pawn. And we don't have time to stop this. If we move the knight, we're not protecting this knight and we're not stopping this check. And if he attacks the rook, well, then we just lost the tempo. he will go with the rook to d8, and the same thing. He will take this pawn, next move, and then take this, and it's a draw. So after king f3, we cannot play king c7. We have to find something else. Can you see the winning move for white? Yes, we now need to leave the 7th rank. We want to stop the rook from coming to h7 and pin our pawn. So we start with king c6. And if he tries this maneuver again, this is just too slow for black in this position. Because we will play the knight to either e8 or f5, followed by knight d6. Even if he takes this, that's a check, and they put it there. So it's obviously we're gonna make our own pawn count. But even if we do something like this, we just put the knight. The knight protects this pawn, which means he cannot take it anymore, and then we can just go up here and allow him to sacrifice on this pawn. We will still win this. Okay, but black doesn't waste time with playing rook a8. Instead, of course, he will play the rook directly to d8, with the idea of taking this pawn followed by taking this pawn by the king. And now it looks like we are allowing this to happen. But there is one great little variation here that wins for white now. Final time, do you want to pause the video and see how white wins here? Go ahead. Okay, what are we doing? Well, we are playing knight to e6. Anyway, we are just attacking this rook. We're allowing him to sacrifice the rook here. And obviously, if we take back, well, this is simply a draw. But we don't have to take back, not directly. We can do a tempo check, knight g5 check. This is the brilliant move. It checks the king, it protects our pawn. Yes, we are being attacked, but that doesn't matter. Now we can take the rook. We lose our knight, but this is winning. King e6, attacking the pawn. Can only do one move to guard it, and then we play king d5. This is a typical endgame pawn position. We've seen this before. Black is now in zugzwang. He has to move away from the protection of his own pawn, and we are now in a good position. We got the opposition, and it's easy win from here. And we would just go all the way with this pawn, and we win this at the end. So that was the brilliant study. As I said, it was even longer from the beginning, but I think from here is good enough to show starting move e4 is not easy to find at all. And I hope you made it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.